Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 in Yoga Fusion. Have to say it that way. No sponsors yet, but maybe one day when I get a sponsor, they'll have me say it. Yoga Fusion. So I thought today we'd start with loosening the feet, the toes. So, as Thomas Myers calls shoes coffins, I completely agree with him. When our feet are cramped, by not only shoes but also just the patterning, walking, not learning how to separate our toes. They create a lot of problems that go further up the chain into the knees, the hips. So if you have knee problems, you want to examine your feet and see if you have proper arch support and toe separation. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to straighten our right leg. Okay, I'm going to turn a little bit this way so you can see. I'm going to place my left ankle right on my thigh. If you cannot do that because you don't have proper mobility in the hips, you could do it this way, like that. Try that. Okay, so I'm going to lace my right hand through my left toes. So my pinky toes between my fifth and fourth toe, etc., etc. Now, for some of you, this might be pretty challenging. Even getting your fingers between your toes might be really painful. So that's good. That's a sign telling you you need to do this. So I'm going to push my fingers as far down as they can go, hopefully to my foot itself. And so my phalanges, actually, my metatarsals there, my phalanges. So, and then I'm going to grab my left ankle here, okay, just to keep my ankle solid, anchored. And then I'm going to, I call it churn in the butter. I'm going to rotate my foot just to get between my subtarsal joints and my tarsal bone there, okay. I'm going to rotate. And as I do that, I'm really trying to separate my toes here. Okay. And sorry, did I say tarsum? Should be talus. Sorry. The talus bone. Okay. And I'm going to just create that mobility in where my foot meets my ankle and separating the toes as much as possible. Okay. Then I'm going to let this go. I'm going to bring my right hand, same hand, on top of the toes of the second down to the fifth one and bring them down. And then I'm going to grab my big toe with my left hand, and I'm just going to, can you see that? I'm bringing my foot into, this is called plantar flexion. Okay. And I'm just going to bring the toes down and just lengthen the tibialis anterior and all the extensors there. Yep. And just hold that. Breathe into it. And you may feel tension there, pulling all the way up to your knee. If you're feeling pain, pull back a little bit. Don't feel like you have to pull that hard, that far. Okay. Then I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to take my left hand. I'm going to grab my toes. Can you see that underneath? And I'm actually going to place the palmar surface of my hand and I'm going to pull the toes like that. Can you see that? And then I'm going to bring the big toe back. So I'm bringing my foot into dorsiflexion, like a dorsal fin of a dolphin. Top of the foot. Can you see that? Like that. And I'm bringing that big toe back. I'm just pulling them backwards. Okay, now I'm getting the flexors of the foot, of the ankle and the bottom of the foot. I'm pulling us into us, like I'm pulling your foot. I'm pulling my foot into, like what I said, dorsiflexion. And I'm just pulling. This might be painful too. Maybe the bottom of your foot is starting to cramp because it's not used to this position. If it starts to cramp, maybe pull back a little bit, rest. But if it's cramping, that's a sign that those muscles are weak and they need to come into this range of motion to teach them how to adapt to this position. Because sooner or later, you're going to bring the foot into this position when you pick up something, when you walk, whatever. And if you prepare it to encounter this force vector in this position now, then when you go into those positions, you won't injure yourself. Okay, cool. I'm gonna let that foot go. I'm gonna try to separate my toes in my left foot. It feels different than the right. I don't know about you. I'm gonna cross my right ankle over. I'm going to interlace my fingers between my toes, my left hand between my right toes, and this side is a little bit more difficult because I broke my fifth metatarsal years ago surfing, and so it's a little bit more challenging on this side. I'm going to grab my ankle with my right hand. I'm going to churn the butter, feeling the mobility where my foot meets my ankle. The malleoli, that's the fancy word for the ankle joint, the tibia and the fibula, creating that mobility between the subtalar joints and the talus, and the metatarsals and the phalanges, those fancy names for the foot. And I'm just churning away. I'm really trying to push my fingertips down. Get that mobility in the toes. If you ever come to Asia and you go to Nepal and you go hiking in the mountains, you see these Sherpas. And man, I remember the first time I went, and you see these guys carrying sometimes 200 kilos on their back of stuff, and they're walking barefoot, and their toes are like our hands, like this. It's amazing, and you see these guys are extremely strong. Okay, now I'm going to take my right hand and pull my toes back. Okay, and I'm going to grab my big toe with my left hand, pull this back. I'm coming into dorsiflexion. We're doing the opposite, what we did last time. Pulling into dorsiflexion. Okay, and I'm feeling a little bit of tension right here. So I'm going to pull back a little bit. Okay, the attachment site for my hamstring, my gracilis, and my sartorius, that pes anserinus. What a lovely name. And then I'm going to pull my toes down into plantar flexion. So my left hand's grabbing my fifth toe, and my other hand, my right hand's pulling my big toe down. Yep. Breathing into that. Ooh, yeah, and I just felt a shift right in the front of my ankle. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna let that go. Now I'm gonna compare the two, my dirty feet. You see my dirty feet, my dirty floor here. Okay, it's all dusty. Then we're gonna try another exercise. We're gonna have our feet hip width apart. Your hands can be behind you if you want, just for stability. Watch, I'm not gonna move my knees inward. I'm gonna keep my big toes on the floor, and I'm gonna bring my other toes up. As I push those big toes down, the other toes raise up. Keep them there. If that's difficult for you, if you can't keep the big toes on the floor, touch them, hold them, and then the other toes just go up like that. Good, relax there, and then switch. Now the big toes up, the other toes. I don't know if you can see this. My big toe is being pulled this way, so I'm going to grab it because that scar tissue in my fifth metatarsal is pulling it. So I'm trying to keep those other toes on the floor as I raise the big toes up. And I've got some adhesions between the big toe and the second toe too that I need to separate. Good. And then you see if you can switch back and forth. So big toe, other toes raise up, other toes touch the floor, big toes raise up. But the knees are staying in the same place. And switch back and forth. Cool. Okay, that's the first position. Let's lie down. We're going to rest a little bit. And what do you notice here when you lie down? How do the feet feel? Do you feel any sensations in the feet, in the toes, in the ankles, maybe even up to the knees? Maybe it's reverberating all the way up to your spine and the base of your skull. Okay. Now, second position, we're going to come into a bridge. And we've done this before. I believe we did it in the first episode, but it's review. It's wonderful review, especially these basic positions. And I repeat a lot of positions. I do a bridge at least 3 to 4 times a week. Okay, so we're gonna have our feet hip width apart. I'm gonna check them out right here just to make sure that my feet are straight. Remember, we don't want the feet too far away or too near us. And then I'm gonna tuck my tailbone under just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to activate my abdominal region. Remember, we're gonna inhale, expand circumferentially, exhale, squeeze in. And I'm just gonna come on up, and I'm gonna connect my rib cage to my pelvis. And we're gonna hang out here. And I just want you to go into your breath. So we inhale, exhale, squeeze in your abdominal region circumferentially. Okay, and stay with that breath. Okay, now as you're staying with the breath, I want you to concentrate on your big toes. See if you can push your big toes down. Hopefully that's easier because we just activated the big toes and those other ones. Okay, and then feel how your big toes push down and it reverberates up to your butt. Okay, now I want you to concentrate on your inner thighs. Can you feel your inner thighs and how they're supporting your legs and connected to your pelvic floor? Okay, now I want you to feel the very bottom of your butt and past your butt and how it connects to your hamstrings. Hopefully that area is activated right here. This is a really weak area in a lot of people. So if you can turn this area on where I'm touching, you want to turn your head towards the camera and see that area right below your butt cheek where it touches with it connects with your hamstrings. Activate that area. So now we got the big toes, the inner thighs, and the glute max and how it interdigitates with the hammies. Now, my shoulders, I just noticed my shoulders were tensing, so I'm relaxing my shoulders. Okay? We're still here. We're going to stay a few more breaths. Okay, let's come on down. Let's rest here. Let's straighten the legs out. Take a few breaths there. And then again, feel what's going on. Your nervous system is trying to size up what's going on. But more than anything, can you let the tension go that you just created? Okay, next position. We're going to come into a bridge with a shift. We did this also, I believe, in the first episode. We're going to do a shift again. So I'm going to show you from this side so you can kind of see here. Okay, so my feet are hip width apart. I'm tucking my tailbone under just a little bit, tucking my chin under. I'm going to come up into a bridge. Okay, I'm placing both fingers here, keeping my knees and my feet in the same place. They're not moving. And I'm just shifting the pelvis to the left and right, keeping that pelvis level. Now, if you notice that one butt cheek drops, remember I said this in the first episode, my jokes are repetitive as well. Sorry. Slap that booty, make it come on up, keep it level. Okay? And we're just shifting. Now, your range may be smaller than mine. I've got pretty good range for myself. I'm trying not to judge myself on, compare myself to others, but, we live in duality, so we're constantly comparing. But I won't go down the philosophical train there. Okay, your range may be here, left to right, really small, and that's okay. That's where you're at. If you get to a point where, oh, I feel weird in my lower back, that's where you stop, and you stop right before the pain. Don't push into the pain. This is not no pain, no gain. Okay, and we're just shifting back and forth like that. Okay, come on back down. Rest here. If you want to straighten the legs, you can. I can't because the wall's right there. Okay, we're going to come up again into another bridge. Come on up. Now I'm tilting, fighter jet. So right butt cheek goes up, left butt cheek comes down. Feet and knees in the same place. Left butt cheek up, right butt cheek down. See that? I'm just using my fingers to kind of show you. Usually I just relax my arms and my shoulders. And I'm just tilting back and forth. Back and forth. Let's do a few more. Back and forth. Back and forth. Back and forth. Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, come on down. Let's rest. I'm gonna go lie back on the mat. Once you lie back down, straighten the legs out. I shouldn't say lie back down, lie down. You're already lying down. Just straighten the legs. Rest here. Notice the sensations running through your pelvis, maybe your lower back, all the way up to your jaw and your feet. Breathe into it. Let your body sink and fall. Okay, next position, dead bug. Yes. So I love the dead bug. We're going to start with the basic elemental one, okay? Mainly because it helps us coordinate our breath with the movement. I should say the movement with our breath, okay? So I'm gonna bring one leg up, another leg up into a tabletop. I'm gonna rest my head on the floor, and I'm gonna try to, hopefully this is 90 degrees. Sorry, I don't have a mirror here, so I can't see. No one's helping me today. I'm gonna bring my arms up, kind of like a dead cockroach on its back, okay? Now, watch my breathing. Inhale, my abdominal region expands, and hopefully my lower back and the sides of my abdominal region. And then exhale, squeeze in. Inhale. Now, I don't know if you notice this, my rib cage when I inhale kind of raises up, kind of a hinge point in my L1, T12 junction. And then I exhale, I bring my rib cage down, connect my rib cage to my pelvis. So think about that when we do this. I'm going to inhale, I'm going to bring my arms back, my rib cage flares up, I exhale, I push the back of my rib cage, the bottom of my rib cage into the floor, the front connects to my pelvis, I bring my arms up into that dead position. Inhale, arms come back, rib cage flares, exhale, push the rib cage down, arms come back, okay? My rib cage is bringing my arms back. Inhale. Inhale. Exhale, rib cage brings the arms back. My arms are somewhat relaxed. Inhale. Arms come back, rib cage flares up. Exhale. Rib cage connects to the pelvis, arms come back. Inhale. Yes. Let's do 3 more. Inhale. Connecting that rib cage to the pelvis. Inhale. Exhale, connect that rib cage to the pelvis. Yeah. I'm going to drop one leg down, then the other. Drop the arms down, straighten the legs out. Let's rest here. Take a few breaths here. Notice if you're holding any tension. For me, it's the pelvic floor again. And so I'm relaxing my pelvic floor. For you, it may be the jaw or the throat, or maybe your butt or your lower back. Can you let that go with your exhale? Take a few more breaths. I'm going to come up. You keep breathing. I'm just going to check my chart because I want to see what the next position is because I just don't have the memory I did before when I was in the young days. Plus, I just want to make sure I'm getting these positions correct for you. So you're going to come stand up. We're going to move up to the shoulders, and I'm going to run through what happens normally for people when they come into flexion. So this is a go-to position for a lot of people, especially when we're sitting in front of a computer, we're sitting in a car, or we're just standing and we round our shoulders. Now, when our spine comes into flexion, this is flexion. Remember, flexion can be when one part of the body comes closer to the spine. So, or the spine comes down like this, okay? We hunch, slouch, okay? Now, I'm going to come into flexion and my arms come into internal rotation. We're going to do that action. So watch, I'm going to move a little bit this way. I'm going to bring my arms up this way. Now, my arms are out to the side. I come into flexion, my arms come into internal rotation, my thumbs come down. I'm going to come into extension, and then my shoulders come into external rotation. But I'm going to tighten my butt and my quads and everything below my rib cage. So my abdominal region is tight. So my rib cage is moving upon my lumbar spine, my lower back. So flexion, my rib cage comes into flexion, my arms come into internal rotation. Extension, my arms come into external rotation. But my abdominal region stays solid. Internal rotation. Tuck the chin under as well. You can bring your cervical spine into flexion. And then extension. Yes. And extension feels so good. Internal rotation, flexion, external rotation, extension. I should say extension, external rotation. And what about the breathing? Inhale, flexion, exhale. Inhale, flexion, internal rotation, exhale, extension. Now, that may be challenging for you, so let's do this. Let's inhale, extension, exhale, flexion. And when you exhale, your abdominal region shrinks a little bit, and you're able to come into flexion a little bit more. So, inhale, exhale here. Inhale, extension. Exhale, flexion. Maybe the arms, you're getting a little bit tired. Let's drop the arms. Let's rest here. Let's lie on our backs. Let's rest a little bit here. Let that integrate. What feelings do you notice in your arms, your shoulders, your thoracic spine, and your cervical spine? That's a fancy word for, those are the fancy words for rib cage and neck. Breathe here. Okay, we got 2 positions left. So we're going to come up into the classic yoga position of the cobra, extension. So what I try to do in most of my workouts and when I teach people is finish with extension, because most of the time we're stuck in flexion. So we're going to come into the classic yoga pose, cobra. So I'm going to have my feet hip width apart. You can have the feet together if you want. You don't have to. You can have them hip width. And then I'm going to just lie on my belly for a second. Hopefully the mic is not muted. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up into kind of a sphinx position. My shoulders are below, my elbows are below my shoulders. And my arms, my hands are in line with my elbows. Okay. I'll show you from the front to here. Hopefully you can see it. So like this. Okay, hopefully I'm not out of the camera. I'm going to come back to this position. Now, I want you to check out my lower back. It's in my, especially my lumbar region. Now, for any of you out there that have herniated discs, this is a great position because it'll bring your vertebrae, especially your lumbar vertebrae, into a state of extension, which is really good for the biomechanics of your spine and for the herniation. If you develop, and there are millions of people beautifully functioning with herniated disc. I've worked on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people with herniation. And as long as you set the pelvis right and you get the lower back into a good position and then you teach them strengthening exercises like this, basic ones, they can function beautifully without any pain. But we have to do it safely. So watch. I'm going to I just let my rib cage sink down. I'm going to bring my rib cage up. And I'm going to tighten my butt and my quads. And I'm going to bring my head into kind of a neutral position. And I'm going to tighten my quads and lengthen my heels that way. And I'm just going to come up into extension. And this is all we're going to do. We're going to stay here and breathe into this. I'm going to close my eyes. Now, when I inhale, my belly comes out. Exhale, squeeze it in circumferentially. Inhale. Belly comes out, exhale, squeeze in circumferentially. And I'm literally imagining my abdominal region as a tube. Inhale, let it come out, exhale, squeeze in. Tightening my butt and my quads. Inhale, let the belly come out, exhale, squeeze. Do you hear that nice, yeah, French fried potatoes? Inhale, exhale, squeeze in. We're going to do 3 more. Inhale, exhale, squeeze in. Corn dogs. Inhale, squeeze in. Come on down. Name that movie, and I'll give you a pat on the back when I see you next. I'll just give you a hint. It's Billy Bob Thornton, one of his greatest movies ever made. French fried potatoes. Okay, breathe into this and think of French fried potatoes. Relax the butt, relax your shoulders. Okay, last position. We're going to come up into extension again, but we're going to do a squatting one. So I'm going to show you the side view. I'm going to curl my toes under just for safety purposes, okay, just to have better stability. I'm going to place my palms under my lower back like this. You can do this with the hands on the lower back. You see this in a lot of yoga classes, but the problem is people push their hands forward. So instead, I like to place the palms down below. That way we can open our shoulders as well. Now, I'm going to engage my abdominal region. I'm going to tighten my quads and my butt just to provide stability below the rib cage. And when I come up into a back bend, and this is kind of a misnomer, when I think back bends, I think I'm going upward first. Because you see this in a lot of people do this, back bends. Push the pelvis forward, just drop the spine back. You see this in a ton of yoga classes. Sorry, but it's completely wrong. You're compressing the lower back when you push that pelvis forward. You're creating compression in the lumbar region and the glutes and the glute med and the sacrum. So instead, can we lengthen up and then bring the rib cage, push the rib cage forward? And so we've created that space in the intervertebral discs and the discs, okay? And intervertebral spaces, say that 5 times. Lengthen upward, and then we're pushing that chest forward, and we're opening the sternum, and we're taking away the pressure out of the back of the neck. So come on into it. Push that rib cage up. I'm keeping the quads and the butt tight. And I'm using the front part of my neck, activating the longus coeli and longus capitis, those front muscles of the neck which are weak. I'm trying to relax my jaw. So we inhale, expand the abdominal region, which can be challenging, and then exhale, squeeze in, and I'm pushing my chest up. Inhale, push the chest up. Exhale, let it drop just a little bit. I know I just said push that forward on the exhale. You can try that too. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, let it sink. Good. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, sink. Okay, let's come on back. Let's come squat for a second. And if you can't squat, if your knees or you don't have the proper hip mobility to where you cannot do this, let's lie on our backs. And why don't we just lie on our backs? We're almost done. So find that position for your spine. Maybe adjust your feet. You want to look at your body, make sure it's straight. So, sorry about that cut there. Find the position for your spine. Okay, maybe you want to adjust your butt a little bit. And notice the position of your shoulder blades. How are they touching? Don't have to change them unless they're uncomfortable, but just notice the difference between the left one and the right one. And then notice how your butt cheeks are touching the floor. Then notice if you're holding any tension anywhere. And if you are, can you let that tension go and just sink into the floor and let your body become heavier and heavier? And thoughts are going to come in. It's normal. But now I'm going to redirect you back to your breath and let your breath relax your body, especially that exhale. Use your exhale to let your body sink. And at the very end of your exhale, can you hang out there for a few more seconds? It's kind of like you're holding your breath, but you're not. It's as if you're in a waterbed and you're just letting the waterbed sink further and further and not move and not create any waves at all. And keep relaxing. Stay here for as long as you would like. And I'll see you next week on the next episode. Take care.